Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robin Wonsley, and I am the chair of the Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee. I am going to call to order our regular committee meeting scheduled for today, February 3rd, 2025. But before we begin the meeting, I do want to offer a friendly reminder to all committee members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcasted live to enable greater public participation. These methods or these broadcasts includes real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. And with that, I will now ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Present.
Ellison.
Here.
Cashman.
Present.
Chugtai is absent. Vice Chair Palmisano.
Present.
And Chair Wansley.
Present.
There are 5 members present.
Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum, and I was informed that Council President Chugtai would be running a few minutes behind. I will also remind my colleagues that we'll be using speaker management today, so please be sure to sign in or let the clerks know if you need assistance. There are 16 items that we have on the consent agenda, which I will now read for the record. The first is a gift acceptance from Metropolitan Police Department of travel and lodging expenses. Second is a gift acceptance from the New Jersey Environmental Health Association of registration, travel, and lodging. Third is a gift acceptance from Hello Heart of Travel, Lodging, and Meals. 4 is a bid for Bridge 9, Ward 2 ped/bike bridge over the Mississippi improvements. 5 is contract amendments with senior services providers. 6 is contract amendment with Cornerstone Advocacy Service for sexual assault case advocacy services. 7 is contract amendment with Hughes Brokerage, Inc. for hauling and disposal of agricultural liming materials. 8 is contract amendment with Family Tree Clinic for sexual health services for youth. 9 is contract with Advocates for Better Health as fiscal agent for Minneapolis Health Department's Public Health Community Institute. 10 is a legal settlement, Muhammad Shahidullah v. City of Minneapolis. 11 is a joint powers agreement for embedded social worker in Minneapolis Emergency Communications Center. 12 is a legal settlement workers' compensation claim of Ricardo Muro. 13 is a legal settlement workers' compensation claim of Jonathan Petron. 14 is a legal settlement workers' compensation claim of Michael Griffin. 15 is a legal settlement workers' compensation claim of Louis Porras. And 16 is a fire department recruitment legislative directive. I'll share that I'm also happy to see item number 5, which is the contracts with senior services providers item. I have worked with some of my colleagues during the last year, particularly through last December's budget negotiations to ensure that services and programs supporting seniors were well funded, and the contracts before us today are just one piece of that. I'm also working with our Neighborhood and Community Relations Department and the Advisory Committee on Aging to organize a presentation in this committee later this spring, where we will have the opportunity to receive a comprehensive update on the city's work on how we're working to become a more age-friendly city. With that, I will also recognize that Councilmember Koski has joined us, and we'll ask her to speak to her item, which is item number 16, and it's the Fire Department Legislative Directive.
Thank you, Chair Wansley, and thank you for having me today here. Colleagues, today I'm bringing forward a staff direction that will guide our Policy and Research Division in conducting a landscape review of municipal fire department recruitment and retention practices. This review will place a particular emphasis on the hiring and recruitment of female candidates. examining the challenges, identifying opportunities, and drawing comparisons to national best practices. The evolving demands on fire and emergency services require us to be proactive in ensuring a strong, diverse, and capable workforce. Unfortunately, female firefighters remain significantly underrepresented across the profession, including here in Minneapolis. In 2022, we recognized the 30th anniversary of the first all-women crew in the Minneapolis Fire Department. And since then, I've had ongoing conversations with the Minneapolis Women Firefighter Association about the troubling drop-off in female representation, an issue that starts as early as the application process. It's clear that if we want to change the outcomes, we must first examine the barriers that exist and identify solutions that will support recruitment and retention. Many of you know that I played a key role in the city's commitment to the 30 by 30 initiative for the police department, pushing for increased female representation in law enforcement. Just as I led on that effort, I am committed to doing the same for the fire department. Across the country, fire departments have adopted innovative strategies to build stronger recruitment pipelines, reduce attrition, and foster a more inclusive workforce. By studying those approaches and evaluating how our own policies compare, we can ensure Minneapolis is leading the way in creating a fire department that reflects the community it serves. And I'd be remiss not to acknowledge that what we're seeing at the federal level, because it directly connects to the work we are doing here today. The staff direction comes at a time when Trump has launched an all-out assault on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. His administration has moved aggressively to dismantle DEIA programs across the federal government, issuing executive orders to terminate initiatives, placing federal employees on administrative leave simply for doing this work, and forcing agencies to abandon their commitments to equity and inclusion. Even more appalling, in the wake of a tragic mid-air plane collision over the Potomac River that claimed 67 lives, Trump has grotesquely and baselessly blamed DEIA policies for the disaster. We cannot allow these dangerous attacks to undermine our commitment to a representative and accessible government. The strength of our institutions at every level depends on ensuring that those who serve reflect the communities they protect. That is what this staff direction is about. That is what our commitment to equity looks like. And that is why we must remain unwavering in our efforts to build a fire department and a city workforce that is diverse, inclusive, and fully equipped to serve all of Minneapolis. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Koski. I will check to see if there's any questions in the queue, and I will recognize that Council President Chuck Tai has joined us. I am not seeing anyone in the queue, so seeing that there's no further discussion, I am going to pull items 12 through 15 for a separate vote, and then move items 1 through 11 and 16 for approval of the consent agenda. So with that, clerks, can you call the roll on items 1 through 11 and 16 of the consent agenda? Oh, before I see Councilmember Cashman.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Wansley. And I just quickly wanted to show some appreciation and excitement around the Joint Powers Agreement for an embedded social worker in Minneapolis Emergency Communications Center, which I know is one of the pilots, innovation pilots that's been in the works for a long time. So this is a great step to see moving forward, and I look forward to hearing, how it's working as you get going.
Yes. And also, I know Councilmember Cashman, I don't believe you're on public health and safety. Wait, no, what I'm talking about. Sorry, you're on this committee. But we have worked with performance management and innovation to set up a schedule for quarterly presentations. So I believe definitely before the end of this quarter, PMI will be coming to this committee to give an overview of the work and progress that they've made on those pilots. So we'll be getting a fuller update on that as well.
Will it be in this committee or PHS?
Yes, this committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So with that, I will ask the clerks to call the roll on items 1 through 11 and item 16.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Cashman.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Vice Chair Palmisano.
Aye.
And Chair Wansley.
Aye.
There are 6 ayes.
Right, that motion carries. Next, I will ask that we call the roll on items 12 through 15.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Cashman. Chugtai.
Nay.
Vice Chair Palmisano.
Aye.
And Chair Wansley.
Nay.
All right, there are 4 ayes and 2 nays.
Thank you. That motion carries. With that, we have moved to the discussion item of our agenda, which is a Neighborhood Safety Department management update. With that, as you all are aware, my office brought forward a legislative directive last fall after a year of engagement with the Fry administration around how are we working to restructure the Neighborhood Safety Department to ensure better continuity of services, specifically our violence prevention services, and also to deal with a number of internal issues that was related to invoicing, contracts, and also, again, how are we adhering to the methodology and national best practices around violence prevention work. All of that led to us having to bring forward a legislative directive that was supposed to be fulfilled back last November, and finally have been able to get that presentation today. So with that, I will invite Commissioner Barnett to start the presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair Wansley, and all other council members. I'm Todd Barnett, Commissioner of Community Safety for the City of Minneapolis. I'm here to present today with Leah Lakes. She's the Deputy Director of Neighborhood Safety, and she'll give more detailed, in-depth review of neighborhood safety. But one of the questions in the directive was an update on the Office of Community Safety, our current staffing, which includes our FTEs and contracts. We're mostly staffed. During the last year, we're able to get the deputy commissioner position with neighborhood safety, with Office of Community Safety, and that's in progress right now. And so that's the only position that's not hired for. As far as contracts are concerned, I'm assuming it's any employment contracts that we might have. Though we only have one contract, which council approved that contract from the city attorney's office, which is a consultant contract with Danny Murphy that came under the Office of Community Safety, mainly to deal with the settlement agreement and the consent decree, because the lawyers are basically, I can't really say done because it's at the federal level right now, but a lot of that work that the city attorney is doing they're at the end on that specific part, which allows us to use a consultant to help with the foundations that we're building for compliance and implementation. So we really are using Danny Murphy, who I think you guys know worked in Baltimore on their consent decree and also worked in New Orleans on theirs. So he's a wealth of good information for us and has worked with some of the folks on our independent evaluation team. So that is that part. Leah Lakes will come and present on the rest of the presentation. I know that she's met some of you informally, probably just being in the building, but just a quick introduction. Leah Lakes comes to the city from a public health background. She previously worked for the CDC, FDA, and most recently the Seattle King County, and she worked there as the continuous improvement manager for environmental public health. So I'll hand it off to Leah Lakes. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Leah Lakes, and I'm the Deputy Director of Neighborhood Safety. I'm here to present on the response to the legislative directive issued by Committee Chair Wansley and Council President Payne to learn more about the operations and partnerships of the Neighborhood Safety Department. And I'm pleased to report that we have 9 positions currently filled, and additionally, we're actively hiring for 6 positions. We have also had 2 positions that have not yet been initiated in the hiring process. And for clarity, I want to note that this update does not include any temporary positions, as those are not a part of the ongoing budgeted staffing allocations. For reference, just to visualize this a little bit better, this is the NSD organizational chart. The blue is our filled positions. The yellow are our positions that are currently in the hiring process. And then the light red, brown at the bottom there, those are positions that have not yet been initiated for hiring. Regarding our technical assistance partnerships, I'm pleased to share that we are actively engaged with several organizations to enhance our services and programming in accordance with national standards. We currently receive valuable technical assistance from Cure Violence Global and benefit from our collaboration with them on the Minneapolis Strategic Outreach Initiatives. The National Network for Safe Communities continues to be a critical partner, providing expert guidance for our group violence intervention program with youth and adults. Additionally, we plan on working closely with the National Institute of Criminal Justice Reform in the upcoming year to support our additional initiatives and programs as appropriate. These partnerships have proven invaluable in implementing evidence-based practices and ensuring that our programming meets the highest standards of effectiveness. These collaborations allow us to stay at the forefront of the best practices in violence prevention and community safety while continuously improving our delivery of services to Minneapolis residents. I'm pleased to share several key developments in how neighborhood safety is working to enhance our approach. We have significantly strengthened our collaborative relationships across many multiple city departments. We're working closely with the City Attorney's Office to ensure robust legal support and contract negotiation guidance. We are also in partnership with the Grants Management Department. They have been helping us to make enhancements and make sure that we are maintaining strict compliance with all federal grant requirements and deepening our engagement with the procurement to implement the best procurement practices for all of our processes. To better support our vendors, we will be implementing regular office hours and drop-in sessions. These sessions will provide incumbent vendors with direct access to NSD staff for guidance and support. We're also offering one-on-one virtual coaching where vendors can receive personalized assistance for their specific needs. On the technology front, we're collaborating with IT and the Office of Community Safety to develop improved vendor data collection tools and processes in both the short and long term. This initiative will help us better track and evaluate the impact of our programs. It also aligns with recommendations in the Safe and Thriving Communities report. Currently, neighborhood safety contracts with vendors to provide violence prevention services. We pay violence interrupter vendors to gather and analyze data on where they need to self-deploy in order to keep neighborhoods safe. While neighborhood safety and OSC meet with these vendors on a regular basis to provide them with crime data, all of the information we provide them in these meetings is public information that they also have access to. In the future, NSD would like to explore analyzing data and identifying geographic areas most in need of our services. This analysis will potentially help us target our resource allocation more effectively and respond to community needs with greater precision. One example of a pilot we are conducting in 2025 where we are using data to target our services to a specific geographic area is the Community Safety Ambassador Program pilot. This pilot is being worked on in collaboration with PMI, and the purpose is to enhance our community presence and safety measures in the East Lake Street and East Franklin Avenue cultural districts. This initiative is distinct from our current work that vendors are doing as violent interrupters, as this new pilot would not follow the cure violence model. And it has specific geographic areas that we're targeting. The program would deploy trained, unarmed ambassadors along East Lake Street and East Franklin cultural districts to enhance neighborhood safety and community connections. These ambassadors would serve as a bridge between residents, businesses, and local authorities. They will patrol 5 days a week, and they will offer services such as safety escorts within the cultural district boundaries, referrals to social services and city resources, assistance with non-emergency police reports, basic first aid, and CPR services, including Narcan administration, wellness checks in public spaces, and community outreach and information sharing about local events and services. Importantly, the program emphasizes accessibility with interpreter services available, including Hmong, Oromo, Somali, and Spanish. Community members will be able to request ambassador services. Training for how the public can request these services will be provided and will be implemented as a part of the launch. The ambassadors will be selected to represent our diverse community, focusing on building trust, preventing violence, and creating a more welcoming environment for all who live, work, and visit these cultural districts. Additionally, NSD is collaborating with the Office of Community Safety and MPD to establish a shooting activation review process, which will help us respond more effectively to shooting incidents when they occur, identify ways to communicate with stakeholders about the event appropriately, and identify ways we can improve our collective response. We believe these efforts have the potential to significantly enhance our ability to serve Minneapolis residents and create a safer community. I'd also like to provide an update on several other important changes in our internal operations. We have intensified our focus on strengthening data reporting processes with our vendors to ensure contracted services are being delivered as specified and that our funded programs are effectively contributing to neighborhood safety. To address this, we've provided comprehensive support to our vendors during this transition. Due to implementation of these measures and this enhanced reporting structure potentially having a negative impact on vendors, we are working hard to make sure that there are things that neighborhood safety is doing. We understand that adapting to a new reporting procedure requires adjustment, and we are dedicated to offering that through training and assistance. Our goal is to maintain high standards while ensuring that all vendors, regardless of size, can successfully meet these improved requirements. To improve our contracting practices, we have made sure we are working closely with procurement staff, technical providers, and the city attorney's office during the writing of the RFP application and contracts so that we are following best practices and all legal requirements. I'm pleased to share that we have also enhanced our recruiting process for reviewers of the RFP application to ensure that those who are reviewing and scoring RFP applications have the highest level of expertise and are trained in our evaluation process. We are taking time to reach out to national experts such as NNSC to recruit them for the review process. This strategic inclusion has strengthened our assessment capabilities significantly. To maintain consistency and thoroughness across all of our evaluations, we are also requiring all reviewers of the RFP to participate in comprehensive pre-evaluation training sessions. This is especially important because we do not usually recycle reviewers on a regular basis to reduce the chance of bias. This session is designed to equip our reviewer panels with the necessary tools that they need to conduct thorough and equitable assessment of all applications. Our grant staff and legal team are now more actively involved in all of our contract negotiations to maintain compliance with federal, city, and uniform code guidance requirements. We've also strengthened our collaborative approach, working closely with procurement staff, technical providers, and the city attorney's office in all stages of the contracting process. This has resulted in enhanced service review processes and more rigorous documentation requirements around invoices. Regarding financial oversight, I want to emphasize that all payments must now be made through approved methods, such as money order or payroll documentation. Based on recommendations from the city attorney's office, we no longer accept payments through peer-to-peer platforms. Additionally, NSD will only provide payment for work that has been performed and verified. Our department does not cover costs related to incentives such as gift cards, prizes, or entertainment expenses per city policy. And I'm also pleased to announce that we have several new initiatives designed to support our vendors to set them up for success with these new requirements. We now debrief vendors following RFP evaluation process to go over their very specific application once the RFP scoring information is made public. This provides the vendor with the opportunity to receive valuable feedback and improve the transparency of our procurement process. This helps our vendors learn what they did well and areas they can improve on for future RFPs. This also is designed to build relationships between the vendor and NSD staff so that we have an opportunity for mutual feedback so we can both achieve continuous improvement in our processes. We're also in the process of significantly upgrading our guidance materials for the invoicing. This includes detailed documentation such as invoicing introduction for contractors, a comprehensive contractor job aid, clear submission requirements, updated general ledger templates, and a new mileage and reimbursement form. To ensure these resources are effectively utilized, we are implementing regular in-person office hours where NSD staff will be available to address questions and concerns. Additionally, we will be introducing mandatory virtual trainings for all new vendors at the beginning of the contract, organized by program area. These sessions will provide detailed instructions on invoicing procedures, proper use of job aids, and form completion. We expect contractors to review all provided materials before attending these training sessions. Finally, we are offering virtual one-on-one coaching sessions where NSD staff will meet with incumbent vendors to discuss various contract-related topics. Vendors can sign up online for these targeted coaching sessions based on their specific needs. These improvements demonstrate our commitment to our vendors while maintaining the highest standard of service delivery to our communities. Next, I'll provide an overview of our neighborhood safety development initiatives from 2024 to 2025. In 2024, our staff participated in several valuable professional developmental programs. A highlight was our attendance in the annual Offices of Violence Prevention Network, which provided us with excellent networking opportunities and insights into the best practices in violence prevention and improving our neighborhood safety access across the country. We also invested in introspective leadership and effective supervision training for our staff to strengthen our management capabilities. Looking ahead to 2025, we're excited about expanding our professional development offerings. We've secured participation in the National Council for Community Behavioral Healthcare Conference, which will enhance our understanding of behavioral health integration and community safety. And additionally, we've implemented weekly staff meetings where we are implementing training sessions as a standing agenda item for updates in policies, procedures, and industry best practices. We're also making sure we're working hard to identify training gaps that our staff need throughout the year so that we have specific training plans for each staff member based off of their work plan and their specific knowledge gaps. I'm also pleased to report that we maintain active memberships in several professional organizations that provide ongoing developmental opportunities for our staff. These include National Grants Management Association, which helps ensure we stay current with grants management and best practices and changes, the American Contract Compliance Association, which supports our procurement and compliance efforts, and the National Institute of Government Procurement, which helps us maintain the highest standards of our procurement processes. I'm also pleased to show our extensive partnership network and its impact on our community safety initiatives. The Neighborhood Safety Department has cultivated and maintained approximately 250 strategic partnerships across various sectors, including external government agencies at the local, state, and federal levels, universities and research organizations, various City of Minneapolis departments, community-based organizations, and national organizations focused on violence prevention, forming a robust collective network that strengthens our ability to serve Minneapolis residents. When evaluating the success of our partnerships, we are focused on several key factors. The depth and quality of community collaboration, measured through exchange of ideas, resources, and tools, program participation rates, and community engagement levels, effective leverage of partnership resources, and clear delineation of responsibilities, alignment in contract languages and standards between partner organizations, quality and frequency of feedback exchanged with partners regarding community safety, and implementation of enhanced performance standards across our partnership network. Our collaborative approach ensures that we're not just addressing immediate safety needs, but also working towards long-term, community-driven, sustainable solutions. The following slides are going to show a list of partners that we've had since 2021. This is not a comprehensive list of all of our partners, but it is a sample of organizations we've been working with over the past several years. These partnerships represent a significant investment in our community's future, and we continue to seek new collaborative opportunities that align with our mission of creating a safer Minneapolis for all residents. And I just want to briefly summarize the main points of this presentation. There are three main priorities for 2025 for neighborhood safety. And our three main priorities are to make sure that all open positions are hired for, all invoices are being paid in a timely manner, and that all of our contracts have appropriate reporting requirements and objectives identified. These items addressed in this presentation highlight the work we are doing to meet these prioritizations and to accomplish these tasks. There's been a lot of progress in 2024 on these items, but this year we're focusing on gathering all the pieces that have been started into a comprehensive and systematic approach to hiring, invoicing, and contracting improvements so that we can support our vendors while maintaining the highest standard of service delivery for our community. That completes my presentation. I'm happy to stand for questions.
Thank you, Deputy Director Legs. I want to make sure, Councilmember Cashman, are you in queue for this item too? Okay, great. It's Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Chair Wansley, and thank you so much, Ms. Lakes. Welcome to Minneapolis. We're so glad you're here to be in the city of Lakes. I think, your name is perfect for this role. So welcome, and I'm really happy that you're in front of us today because I think this department, has gone through a lot of changes. Retention is really important for this work. And our job as city council is to provide oversight. So it's really important for us to know what's going on so that we can communicate with our community about this really important topic. So I just have a few questions for you. First, who's leading the weekly staff meetings right now in this department, just while you're, hiring a new director?
Yes, Chair Wansley and council members, I am leading those.
Okay, thank you. And then this, the staff list and chart that you showed I think it was at the beginning, it does show the business data analyst position on the far right here, which is something that was just budgeted for. Is this the person who will be in charge of doing an analysis of the geographic need for violence prevention service, or who will be doing that work?
Chair Wansley and council members, this work would be potentially done by this person. It would potentially be done by PMI. It would depend on availability of resources and what the priorities are at that time.
Okay, I'll just say, I have a degree in geography, so this is really important to me that we're thinking about safety from a geographic lens, but each of us can identify crime hotspots in our neighborhoods. So for me, it's 19th and Nicollet, it's 5th and Hennepin downtown, and it's Lagoon and hennepin in Uptown. These are the hotspots, and so that's why I feel it's so important to be developing concentrated and tailored strategies in geographic locations, especially where there's a lot of gun violence, where there's group violence, drug dealing, that kind of activity. So it's really important to me that we're delivering on this community safety ambassador pilot. I know that there's, East Lake Street and East Franklin are underway, but the budget for this was $3 million for 10 specific geographic locations throughout the city, one of them being near Lake and Hennepin in Uptown. So I'm really glad to see we had an email exchange about that those funds will roll over for delivery of that program, but I'm also very happy to see that a focus this year is using geographic data on crimes to deploy or to send violence interrupters. That seems really obvious to me, and I hope that we have good strategies to do that this year and that we can share that information out, with our community. I also wanted to ask, the last time that Director Nelson Brown was in front of us, about a month ago, I had asked her about the Minneapolis daily debrief log pilot, where the violence interrupters were submitting a form for all the cases that they're logging, the work that they're doing. And I was told, by her last month that log would be made public so that we have transparency. And so I'm wondering if you're aware of a timeline to ensure that information about the status of the work that the violence interrupters are doing under Minneapolis can be made public.
Chair Wansley and council members, thank you for that question. I don't have all of the specific details around that, but I'm happy to follow up in a report with that.
Okay, thank you. I'll just note that question for follow-up. And then lastly, I wanted to ask about this shooting activation review process. Will you be using ShotSpotter data? What kind of data will you be using? And then will this be in collaboration with GVI partners? And I ask because I know that our investigations aren't always what they need to be when it comes to non-fatal shootings, and doing thorough investigations on non-fatal shootings is a preventative measure to prevent a fatal shooting from then occurring in the days following, or retaliation. So I'm just wondering if you could tell me a little more about that.
Chair Wansley and council members, thank you for that question. That's another one I'm going to have to get more details on for you, and I can respond to that in a response memo.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Cashman. Next, we have Vice Chair Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Lakes, for this presentation. I think it's really important, though it might seem a little bit dry, as to how exactly we've put a lot more rigor on how we manage these contracts in this process, right? We needed to do that. I'm curious, how do we, as you said earlier in your presentation, verify their work was done now? What are those things that we do to make sure that when we get an invoice saying that one of our contractors was working out in the community, that they actually were?
Chair Wansley and council members, excellent question. It depends is the short answer. The longer answer is we are looking at the invoices they submit, the things that they're saying they need reimbursement for, and we're taking that and we're matching it up to the work that was outlined in the contract, and we're looking for discrepancies, and we're looking for things that do make sense. So one example of that is if they submit payroll, we are saying how many hours are they paying their staff for. We're doing the math on all of that and making sure it matches up with what their contracts are saying that they're doing. But there are a lot of other ways that we're doing it as well. So it's very specific to each contract what we're doing to make sure that the work is being verified.
Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Chair Palmisano. I do have a number of questions, Deputy Director Lakes. First, just going to slide number 4, starting in order here. Can you share which of the positions are or have been newly added this past year? I know as Councilmember Cashman highlighted, the data business analyst is one of those positions, considering I brought forth that as a budget amendment with a number of my colleagues, but wanting to get a sense of, again, added capacity to this office, and thinking of infrastructure development, but also knowing, okay, phased in, how much of these positions were added last year or then to the previous year?
Chair Walmsley, that's an excellent question. I can answer for sure the data business analyst, as you mentioned, and I can also say the project manager is another one that I know for sure is new. I have to get back to you, though, with a response memo for more details about what was before and what was after.
Okay, and I'm assuming your position also factors into last year as well? Yes.
Chair Walmsley, I will have to get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll note that as a staff memo, and I have these questions written down, so I'll send those to you too. Following from that, yeah,
just a little
yeah,
bit.
Commissioner Brown, yeah.
Thank you, Chair Wansley. You're right, the deputy director position was added, but council also helped in passing some reclassification. So I know you said new, but just to kind of ground us just a little bit in some of the positions that were reclassified. You had the associate director of finance, the associate director of compliance, and also the associate director of programming. And I think that's interviewing. Yes. So those were the ones last year that we reclassified to get that infrastructure in place. So I know that you said new, but I just wanted to say there were positions that we reclassified. That's all I wanted to add.
Using existing positions within Neighborhood Safety Department.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Next, I also believe, actually this might be Commissioner Barnett too, when this slide was introduced, I believe you mentioned it doesn't include temporary positions, but I did want to get clarification on the senior epidemiologist. Is this not the position that has historically been funded by CDC, or is that completely a separate position?
Chair Wansley, the community engagement manager position, or the senior epidemiologist position, I believe that is funded through the general fund, but let me confirm that through a report memo, unless, Commissioner, you have that answer off the top of your head.
I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay, if we get also clarification, then which position is that? Because that would be good to know. I know that position was also very critical to our violence prevention work, also in light of the national landscape. And I believe that funding was set to be phased out anyways, due to the CDC grant. So I just wanted to get clarification if that was not the same position. Next question that I had was also slide 6. Yes, I did have a question regarding the Cure Violence Global Technical Assistance as it relates to YGVI and GVI. So the last presentation we received by the former director of NSD highlighted, this desire for the department to become a site. Apparently, that's option that Cure Violence offers and has a certification process in which you can go through it. Can you clarify now what is the Cure Violence Global Technical Assistance role as it relates to NSD? Because I also know at the end of December, there was also our RFP out for a provider that offers Cure Violence support. So first there, can we,
Chair Wansley, are you asking about the certification or about the RFP that is out for
So can you clarify, what is our current role right now in relationship to the Cure Violence Global? Yeah, Cure Violence Global.
Yes. Chair Wansley, right now for Cure Violence Global, we are working on that RFP. And then for the certification piece, I'm going to have to follow up in a response memo on that one.
So essentially that RFP for a provider that offers cure violence expertise has not been executed yet.
Chair Wansley, I believe that is correct, but I can confirm that.
Okay, so we do not, as of now, have a technical assistance provider that offers expertise in the cure violence model.
Chair Wansley, I believe that we currently do have that, but the RFP is also active, and I believe there's overlap in time for our current contract and the new one that's currently going through the RFP, but let me confirm that. I'm not 100% confident.
Okay, as if one is expiring and then, okay.
The idea is no gap in time in between those two things, but let me confirm.
Okay, and then for the new contract too, I only got a chance to get a glance at the RFP while it was still online. If you could also provide basically a scope of work that they will be offering under the new contract, which sounds like maybe the certification process will be part of that in supporting us, but what else will be covered under that would be helpful. This probably ties into that scope of work too. I know we're currently engaging in our new selection process for YGVI and GVI vendors. And this is, of course, has been a critical program in terms of our safety ecosystem for reducing gun violence. And I will argue a major reason why I've spent the past year advocating for reining in mismanagement over the department and these programs is largely because we see a correlation, and Minneapolis had some of the highest rates of homicides this past year in the country. We saw an increase there. And I will argue there is definitely a correlation to us not having a continuity or intentional and directed deployment of services to where we saw that uptick in gun violence. And even at the last presentation, we had a lack of clarity of how the departments even defines an uptick and where they direct resources to. But nevertheless, I wanted to know if you could share on slide 6, in regards to the National Office of Violence Prevention, they're a critical partner in this role too. Can you clarify what their role is within us, or similar to the Cure Violence? Yeah.
Chair Wansley, thank you. The National Network for Safe Communities supports us in the YGVI and GVI work. They provide us guidance in our RFP and contracting process. They provide guidance in the project manager and training them on how to make sure that the best practices in their work is occurring. They also support in community assessments when asked. They also support us in hiring and interviewing of roles within NSD that is supporting and the YGVI and GVI work. And they also...
Oh, no. I think you're... So you see on the third point, you have NOVP. So that's the National Office of Violence Prevention. Yes,
Chair Wansley, I
one.
apologize.
Yeah.
That one, I am going to have to provide an answer and a response memo to you.
Okay. That would be great, because I also am looking at the last presentation too, just getting a sense of if they're involved in those meetings, especially in thinking of shooting, activation data, methodology around how are we actually addressing gun violence in our city so we don't reach those numbers again as we're going into a new year. Also, I think following up on Councilmember Cashman's question too, I mean, the daily meetings is one piece, but can you also talk about how the technical assistance providers are helping support around the daily briefings to better help you all collect data from our violence interrupters?
Chair Wansley, again, I'm going to have to provide that answer and a response memo. Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on. Then slide 7. Going to slide 7. So I do know, following on this question too around what was some of the barriers in seeing resources not be targeted in areas where we did see increases of gun violence, as Councilmember Cashman highlighted all last year, where we saw this disconnect of either on the leadership and management side to service delivery side. On council, we constantly heard gun violence is happening here. I'm hearing it from my constituents. I'm seeing it. Even MPD data, the crime dashboard that you can go look, that validates this. Why aren't we deploying resources there? And that has led to council having to bring budget appropriations to try to move resources there instead of a proactive response. And when I believe Councilmember Cashman and I brought forward a legislative motion that she referenced that the former director presented on January 6th of last month, and mentioned that essentially violence interrupters, I guess particularly those in Minneapolis, and particularly I'm assuming in GBI, could not be deployed to areas where we saw increases in gun violence due to contract restrictions. So she didn't speak to this part that's listed here in terms of needing more data from MPD to determine geographic needs. So I just was interested in seeing that part was listed. Can you outline basically what the process and timeline is for MPD to share this information with NSD, and what changes have basically taken place then? So you all are getting that information in a timely manner.
Chair Wansley, thank you for that question. You are correct. Violence interrupters don't deploy. That is a part of the Cure Violence model, so that's a great point out. With working with MPD, currently we are looking at their crime dashboards with vendors and going over with them that information so that those vendors can use that in their deployment strategies. And in the future, we would like to be setting up meetings regularly with MPD and OCS to review the shooting activation, and using geography as a part of those conversations, I think will be incredibly helpful.
And this is going back to the earlier slide with the technical assistance providers. So I asked this question of the former director, and I'll actually see if I can dig up the staffing, because I was owed the staffing memo there that relates to many of the questions that I'm raising here. But some of that data points, or as you mentioned, this work is very evidence-based, and we often hear critiques about the providers themselves in terms of not being in compliance with invoicing. But where there's scrutiny there, this is actually deeply evidence-based work, and so much of it warrants data. And what we saw in the presentation previously was it didn't feel like we were really using any data to guide this work, or at least data that could not be presented at the time. And what I do know is, for instance, John Jay, they provide a shooting report card that specialized right to Minneapolis and gives us a landscape of what's going on. So it would be good if we could get a copy of what that report card is, so that council members can even get information like that. So in addition to MPD, how are you also bringing in many of the reports that our technical assistance providers do for us to also help us assess where crime is happening and how to better do deployment of resources? So also, can you share, following up to Councilmember Cashman's question, when will these shooting activations begin? The former director mentioned also they would be implementing this a month ago. So when will it actually start?
Chair Wansley, that's a very good question. I don't have an estimate right now of when they'll start. The goal is 2025 this year, though.
Commissioner Barnett, do you have a sense of when these will start? Considering,
Chair Wansley, other council members, part of, and this goes back a little bit, months back. I can't remember exactly what month, but I guess to give you a better update of where we are, We just went through a training with the National Network for Safe Communities. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. It was a day and a half training. This is one of the things that we talked about there. So we haven't had a follow-up meeting. MPD was present during that training. We had providers present during that training as well. One of the slides here shows that our it's called Senior Public Health Specialists that we're hiring for will help in that shooting activation review. So there are some pieces that need to come in place. I know that Deputy Director Lake said in 2025, we just haven't had this group get together because we want to follow the model and things that we've learned from that training. We really got together to really level set where we are and to really get back into a good place of where we were years and years ago. That was repeated several times during the training of being a model for the nation. So we're really trying to get back to those best practices and do it in a thoughtful way. As soon as we are able to meet and confer on our timelines, we will get that to you.
And just clarification,
Yeah.
when you mentioned the project manager, are you referring to the project manager in the finance? I'm only seeing the project manager listed under the 80 of finance, not,
It's the Senior Public Health Specialist,
public.
which is on the top
Is
row
this-
there in yellow.
Oh, for GBI and
Yes,
YGBI, okay.
yes.
Oh, okay, that's good to know, okay.
Just to kind of tell you some of the things that we're just trying to be mindful of what information we're able to share in these groups. So what we learned is there might actually be two groups: a group that has that seizures background to know sensitive information, and then also our more information that's on a public dashboard. So there's some things that we need to get in place to make sure that we're doing this right as we move along. So I know you said that review team that you're referring to, I think is that more public.
No, based off of what I do, it's the daily briefings. I'm going back to what the former director mentioned in terms of what was apparently, at least what they presented, was happening, or these biweekly meetings where you all were already doing this, and this seemed to be internal. Yes.
Right, with the public information, not as, what we learned last week, and hopefully I'm explaining this correctly, there is some coordination and I think collaboration with the information that is shared and who is shared to. It was a discussion that we had in which we want to make sure that MPD is solid with who can be in the room when we're talking. It could be our staff member from NSD. So there was some confusion, there was some tension between what information could be shared that people didn't have backgrounds to, and then from there, what information can be shared with our providers and other people. So I'm just saying there's some groundwork that we're laying to make sure that we get this right in this area to get a good service. That's all.
No, and that's
all
good
what I'm trying to say.
That's really good to hear. I
Yep.
mean, these were things that I thought was going to take place in the fall. So this sounds like already significant headway. So excited
Yes.
to hear that is going on, and our technical assistance providers are providing that great expertise to you all on how to do that, it sounds.
Yes.
And then going to slide number 8. So I know this is one of the things in terms of improved vendor support. The past year, I've had numerous times where vendors have called me asking how do they get help to essentially get vendor support because they weren't able to get in contact with anyone from NSD. So I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly in terms of the things that's being listed under improved vendor support. These are things that are new and will be implemented. Okay, going forward. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then I definitely, with the professional development piece, are you also looking or working in collaboration with, and it sounds like we, with the staff memo, needs to get a little bit more clarification on the technical assistance provider side of things, because what I will note that seems to be missing here, and I think has also been a challenge with Neighborhood Safety Department, is that missing subject matter expertise around specific understanding of actually GVI and YGVI and the methodology in that. And I don't all the way see that reflected because I for instance, what is GVI and YGVI University? I will even know. This is the first time I'm hearing this, and I actually brought all these partners and national folks to this committee in August. Sorry, not this committee, Public Health and Safety, and I didn't mention anything about this. So did someone talk about this at your training last week? But yeah, could someone share what this is?
Chair Wansley, other council members as well. I'll have to get back to you on that specifically. That wasn't discussed in our training last week. So I would have to follow up with that.
Okay. And then also looking at, can you speak to a little bit more, because this came up even our last presentation around data and how resource deployment happens in terms of how referrals will be done for YGVI, NGVI, how those are going to be or being considered. Well, no. Yes, how are you all thinking about basically doing those?
Was that referrals?
For YGVI and
Can you
GVI?
answer that one? Thanks.
Chair Wansley, that is an excellent question. We are currently in the process of improving our referral process in the short term and long term. We need a short-term solution where we are getting information soon about who we are providing services to and where they are going and what services they're getting to those vendors and how many vendors are getting referrals. We are currently working on developing a smart sheet to do that. We have a new contract starting in April 1st. Our goal is to build in requirements in the new contract language around needing to use this referral process into that contract, and we're piloting it. We're doing demos with our current users of YGVI currently to get feedback from the current vendors on the process that we've developed. That is a short-term solution. We also are looking at a long-term solution, getting a software that's more robust than Smartsheets, that's a little bit more user-friendly. Other organizations use Apricot. Implementing a new software takes a long time. So we are working both on a short-term software solution for referrals and a long-term solution.
Okay, and do you anticipate that those agreements would come with potential MOUs or joint power agreements? I'm saying that because the last presentation we received from the former director a month ago listed schools, probation, and I believe there was one other, schools, MPD, which not needed, but schools and probation was one to note because, I mean, that sounds like the county, and then from in Minneapolis Public Schools. So if we're getting information and data, that sounds like there would need to be a formalized agreement of some sorts there. So just wanted to get a sense if that would be needed with a adjusted referral process.
Chair Wansley, that is a good question. I was not considering an MOU. I was just considering rolling it out as an SOP and saying, when you make referrals, please use this process. Maybe an MOU is something that we should be exploring in addition to that. So I'll follow up on that.
Okay, thank you. And those are the questions that I had. I do see Council Member Vital in queue.
Thank you, Chair Wansley. Thank you for the presentation, Deputy Director Lakes, and welcome. I have some questions and some comments. One is, the first thing is about the shooting activations. I really don't know much about this. Is there a presentation, Councilmember Wansley, that's specific to talking about this, like whatever is happening with the shooting activations?
Deputy Director Lakes, I just asked a couple of questions
Yeah.
around that. It seems that they are TBD on that.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess why I'm asking is because I always thought ShotSpotter was the tool that was used to activate what hotspots are, and that's where we put, where we were going to be deploying services based on, like different ShotSpotter activation or reports into things. So I guess I'm trying to understand more what this extra layer of shooting activate, like what is this specifically, and how is this any different than deploying the services to where the ShotSpotter is saying things are happening?
So I will recommend then, and I can forward this out. So I mentioned we had that presentation. And PHS. Director Brown did not mention anything about ShotSpotter being in terms of how they utilize, like, detecting hotspots. They talk a lot about, and it's in their presentation, they use mapping data, location of canvassing, hotspots using MPD crime. So I'm going by what they reference. So it sounds like they are revamping and expanding, but
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll watch it. Thank you. The other thing is, this, I appreciate this presentation, but it didn't cover some of the things that I felt like were supposed to come up in this, a lot of the things that I need clarity on. I'll start by saying, I think this presentation makes GVI, YGVI, and violence interruption sound like the same thing, and it's not. It's two different initiatives. YGVI is youth gun violence intervention, and then GVI is gun violence intervention. And violence interrupters are the people that you see in communities walking around. Two completely different things. I've really never had any engagement with constituency about what is YGVI or GVI. People generally understand that because the model is that you get a referral of a person to a case manager kind of situation, and it's worked through that way. That is always, I've known about GVI for a really long time. Worked with some of the guys who facilitate the GVI program before I was on the council. So I understand that. I think generally people understand those initiatives. So for me, the questions outside of, are there invoices being paid on time? Like some of the things that have come up, and I'll get back to that, but that's separate. Where the questions come in at, for me, in Ward 4, is about the violence interrupters, and specifically encounters violence interrupters make with people. How are we tracking that? How are we managing those contracts and deploying them into the areas where people see things happen? What is being reported to me as a council member, and then how do we deploy those services out to those places? That is what I was expecting to come out of this presentation. And I know you're new, and I don't want to, put you on the spot in that way. But when somebody tells you to come here and present, you get put on the spot, and so there's going to be questions. There may be more memos added to this, but I do want us to make sure that we separate those things out and we talk about the things that people have been asking about in those separate ways. So to some of those things, I see in here you're saying there's going to be some vendor support. I'm nervous about what this transition looks like for vendor support, because people have been submitting invoices for years and getting reimbursed for things that it seems like now they won't be able to get reimbursed for. What are you all doing to make sure that that is heard loud and clear, and there's support put in place for people to understand that invoicing is different than it previously had been?
Chair Wansley and council members, excellent question. For the support that we're currently giving vendors, it is ongoing. It is something that we are doing on a continuous basis, and every single interaction is usually followed up with one-on-one conversations around invoicing. So there's a lot of education going on with vendors in those invoicings currently. And then in the future, we are being more systematic in a lot of our approaches, such as one-on-one coaching that they can sign up for, office hours where people can come in, better supporting documentation to help with those guidance materials. So those are improvements that are coming in addition to the things that we're already doing, which is that support.
How many of those staff on this flow chart you gave us are directly connected to the invoicing piece?
Chair Wansley and council members, excellent question. We have the AD of Finance, the AD of Compliance, the Contract Administration. We have two of those. One is here labeled under the AD of Finance, Contract Admin, and then the AD of Compliance has a position under them, Public Health Specialist Contracts. Those four are the main invoice support, and then we're currently in the process of hiring the project manager who will also be helping with the support of invoicing, and interviews for that position were held today.
So when a person submits an invoice, does it go through all 5 of those layers, or does it depend on what they, so the biggest complaint I get is that people submit invoices and then they find out a month later that something they submitted in the invoice is not acceptable. I'm trying to make sure we can communicate to folks on the front end that this is not an acceptable invoiced item or whatever. I've never seen an invoice that someone submitted. I've never had the authority to say what is or what isn't. But I'm almost certain there's some sort of protections in place for what can be accepted and what can't be. So what is happening on the front end to let somebody know right away, this is unacceptable, you can't submit for this?
Chair Wansley and council members, when new vendors are onboarded or current vendors are going through the submission process, there is a lot of conversations and training around the invoice process. There's also vendors who offer training in this, such as Blueprint offers training in this, as well as our staff are offering trainings in the different procedures and having these one-on-one conversations as they come up. A lot of the vendors have been doing this for months. It's a slow transition, but there have been a lot of conversations, and a lot of the conversations are slowly getting better, but it is a big change for a lot of these vendors, and we are doing a lot of education with a lot of these vendors. We currently have around 60 contracts that we're currently making payments on, and we have a lot of vendors who need a lot of support, and we are very dedicated to making sure we are providing that support, as well as improving the support that we're offering in the future.
Thank you for that. There's a story in the news today, actually, it's been sent to me a few times about receipts not being attached to invoices, and that's why invoices have been, people haven't been paid or have been paid. I've always been told if things aren't submitted, people don't get paid, but according to this story, it's people are getting paid even if they don't submit the right documentation with it. What is the protocol for having your invoice paid out? Could you just tell us, what is the expectation, a typical invoice, what comes with it, and then also the timeline for that?
Chair Wansley and council members, invoices need to be paid within 35 days, and they also need to have documentation in line with the procurement processes that the city has required in order to get paid. So if they cannot provide proof of the services that they have provided, they do not get paid. Our staff work diligently, if they are getting invoices, to reach back out to those vendors to collect the correct information so that it's a team effort to make sure that we are getting what we need from the vendors so that we can pay them. But we do not pay for services that are not being served.
Services that aren't verifiable. So if someone received a check from the city of Minneapolis, there was a process in place where they had to verify what they invoiced us for is what you're saying. Thank you. And then my last question is about training. You know, I got an email, I think over the weekend, about a training. I don't know if it was one of the things you talked about in here, but what are you all doing to get that out? I think that's valuable to community. I think there's a lot of people who we could build partnership up with. You know, I'm definitely sending it out, but what are you all doing to make sure that that gets out to folks? And is this an ongoing thing, or is this a one-time training that we're hoping to have?
Chair Wadsley and council members, this is going to be a regular type of training. We have a listserv that we recently started that we are giving out, that we are sending out newsletters to our past vendors and those who might be interested, as well as our community partners. And then we also are, the person that we are partnering with to do this is also doing some distribution among her network. So it will be a regular basis that we'll be providing these trainings.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I have one more thing, because you said something that was really exciting. You talked about building a new team of folks who are reviewing the RFPs. I think that's fantastic. And you talked about having professionals who have backgrounds in various things that are going to be reviewing these RFPs. I'm just wondering if you all are recruiting for this ongoing, or if you're planning to just like build one team of people together and use that group. Like, how is this process going to play out, you think?
Chair Wansley and council members, excellent question. We are working hard to try to not recycle reviewers. We want new reviewers every single time to reduce the chance of bias in the reviewable process. So we're spending a lot of time intentionally recruiting experts who may have not reviewed our RFPs before, or the applications that turn in for our RFPs before. That's why we have such intensive training for those folks, because when they come in, they hopefully haven't been a reviewer before, and so we train them on those things.
What's the time commitment for being a reviewer?
Chair Wansley and council members, that's a good question. I want to say it's a 2-hour training, but I'd have to confirm that and get back to you on that. And then the reviewal process itself, it depends on how many applicants there are. So if there are a lot of applicants, there's a higher time commitment. We do try to limit the applications to about 5 pages to reduce the burden on those reviewers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Council Member Vita. You actually raised some really good points in terms of something that I realized was missing too, in terms of often the conflation of GBI, YGBI, and then violence interrupters, which typically is reflected in Minneapolis, which we don't see here. So even in this chart, can you share who will oversee amongst the staff Minneapolis?
Chair Wansley and council members, good question. The yellow public health specialist, oh, I might be wrong. It's directly under the director. So it goes director, deputy director, and then there's a senior public health specialist, and a very, very small type. It has the GVI, YGVI under that. So it's the yellow in the center position.
So the one that's currently not hired, senior public, so they oversee both GBI, YGBI, and Minneapolis.
And then the Minneapolis, thank you, is the public health specialist 2, which is in yellow above the light red.
Like, ooh, wait, let me pull up, because this is,
Or brown.
so you're above the senior epidemiologist?
Chair Wansley, that is correct.
Okay, so they oversee, and that position also is in, so basically we have 2 of the positions that oversee our critical violence intervention work, again, GBI, YGBI, in Minneapolis, are currently not filled.
Chair Wansley, that is correct. The Minneapolis position is currently going through a background check, and the GVI position is currently open.
Okay, and then I did want to, I think also Councilmember Vita, you raised a big point to around, again, that previous presentation around how data and resource deployment is just, it's a struggle. And I think we had a really robust conversation around what we also felt to be a very limited presentation that did not offer much. So I'm hoping that we do see some improvements around that. And many of the things that you've shared here was also shared at that presentation on January 8th from the former director. So hope to see those actually implemented. I also wanted to make sure for clarification around the contract piece that as you verified, any contracts that have provided receipts and verification that we do not have any outstanding balances of those contracts. No one can't come to the city and says, you owe me money, and they have provided us verification and receipts. Those are not outstanding.
Chair Wansley, are you asking if we have any?
Outstanding contracts.
Chair Wansley, I have to get back to you in a response memo
Okay.
for that one.
That's good. Thank you. But yes, thank you. This is clarifying. Thank you for flagging the Minneapolis piece because I wasn't sure here also where that was reflected. So with that, we have concluded our conversation on this item. I do know we have a pretty exhaustive staff memo for you all to complete. So make sure we'll work with the clerks to get all the questions that were raised today documented and sent over to you. So with that and nothing else to talk about, I will call this meeting adjourned.